Hello, everyone. This is Bill Dannenhauer with Ballin with Bill here at Sideline Power and presented by Sideline Power. I have a great guest here today, a fine man that I've known for a while, Tony Kobza. Did I say that right?
You got it right.
I met him when he was in Omaha Benson. He was coaching there, and met him when he was assistant when I was at Dana. And he's a good coach and a fine man, and he's now over at Lincoln North Star building that program up. He's got a 2-1 start this year, so welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate
Great to have you
Appreciate
here, Coach.
Here.
Yeah, it is.
Looking forward to it.
And just want to kind of start off, ask you a question here. How'd you get? How football, was it part of your life as a young person, or how did y'all get started?
You know, I loved football. I had an older brother who was an All-American linebacker at Benedictine College, and so growing up, I saw him kind of as a role model there. Where I grew up on a farm, so we didn't have opportunity to play football really until I was a freshman in high school. So I was kind of late to the game. Fell in love with it. Played for a year at Peru State, and really got invested in it once I became a teacher and a coach. Loved playing it, loved being a part of it, being around it. But then got to learn from Mark King as a head coach when he was at Lincoln Southwest.
I played with Mark at UNL. He was defensive back.
And so just learned a ton from him on how to run a program, how to build relationships with kids, and really just kind of from the ground up how to do a program 9 through 12, and from there, you know, once you start getting your hands dirty a little bit, start seeing if you want to try to run your own program, and got the opportunity at Benson, and you know, we didn't have a lot of wins there, but we got a lot of kids involved, got a lot of kids out. And,
yeah, you did. You were starting to get that program rolling there.
That was the goal, and wife got a job in Lincoln, and so we looked for an opportunity back in Lincoln, and North Star was there.
So you were able to go right from head coach to head coach then? Yeah.
I was head coach at Benson for 6 years, and then came to North Star for the last. This is my third year there.
Okay, I know you've done well. So how is it? Okay, now that you've done 2 programs as a head coach, and I know what Mark comes a lot from ideas from Coach Boo and Sandy, who we both played for and stuff. So, but okay, now that you've taken, what have you done? Done anything different? What you started at Benson and what you started at North Star now?
Yeah. First of all, one of the challenges is neither one really had a feeder program, and you know, in the Metro, if you don't have a feeder program, it's very difficult to.
That's one thing North has that's made them strong.
Yeah,
and
little
too.
Vikes and the Junior Bulldogs, the Junior Warriors. You look at what Westside's doing right now, and all those kids are playing for that program all the way up. So one of the things we did establish at Benson over the last couple of years was the Junior Bunnies. And, it very much in its infancy when we got started. And that was really a step in the right direction to try to help build the numbers in that program. OPS has middle school football, which helps a ton. That is one disadvantage in Lincoln is, you know, if you're not paying to play with the Lincoln Youth Football League, you know, we have 47 freshmen this year, and about half of them haven't played football before. And
so really? Well, that's a good number to have out that
we're
never
really
played
happy.
before.
Yeah, and especially during the pandemic and limited numbers in the summer. They've all shown up. Attendance is really high every day, so it's a really good freshman class. And I kind of feel for some of those kids because knowing what it's like to come in and play football when you haven't played in middle
school, first time putting
shoulder pads on. You know, some of the kids have to learn which direction the girdle goes, and you know how to tighten the chin straps.
Those days, yeah.
You know, you can't take anything for granted with those kids. But the biggest difference that I see is there's just more numbers. You know, there were times 9 through 12. I think my first year at Benson, we had 22 kids 9 through 12 to start the season.
I remember that when you started with that.
That was, you know, we started 2 freshman running backs against North State runner-up team first game of the year, and I learned a lot as a head coach in one day.
Yeah, because he had some animals back then.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was a very, very good program, and a lot of those kids were sophomores and won the next couple of years after that.
Right.
But that's kind of where with North Star, what I'm seeing is there's more numbers coming in, and so you kind of can start with a little bit more of a foundation, and evolve kind of, you know. We've got 34 seniors this year, so
that's what I was going to talk to you about. That's amazing.
Yeah, so
they've been with you. Were they there at the beginning with you, Coach?
So they were sophomores, and about 25 of them, 26 of them were there as sophomores, and then we had a few kids transfer in. One kid from Atlanta, Georgia. We had a handful of kids come from Lincoln High this year as seniors, and they're home attendance area kids, and they, whatever reason, they're looking for a different area and a different program, and so a lot of these kids grew up together, so they've known each other, so that makes it a lot easier to transition when you add those numbers. But you have 34 seniors. There's about 6 or 7 of them that played quite a bit as sophomores.
Wow,
and
that's pretty good.
So
then.
We got a 3-year starting quarterback coming back, that's playing for us, and he's really
that makes it easy as far as when you integrate all your stuff.
Absolutely. So, and we actually started platooning this year. That's one thing that I did take from. Talked with Mike Huffman at Bellevue West and some of the other programs. You look at some of the different programs that are really successful. It's about development, and I got tired of, to be honest with you, as a coach, I got tired of seeing kids every year you were having to restart. And what I've seen so far, this is the first year we've done it. What I've seen so far is even for JV games, the sophomores who, in the last couple of years, day of the game, you're drawing up plays, teaching them how to run it because they've been running scout for the whole time, the whole week. Now they can teach their teammates kind of what they're doing, and so they're able to focus more on it. And I'm excited about that going forward. It's a sacrifice for the kids, especially the ones who've been playing both ways for a couple of years. But that's been, I think, the biggest benefit this year for us with the numbers is we've been able to get kids focused on one side of the ball.
Well, that's good. I've watched your career over there, and I think you've done a nice job and kind of moving the program along and building it from the beginning. So when you first came there, what kind of a aura, or how you want to say,
to North Star?
Yeah, what did you do to kind of build your plan, to start your plan when you first went in there? How did you integrate your ideas and your thoughts with your coaches and your players?
So one of the first things we did is because Mark Waller started that program from the very beginning, and so he did a great job, wonderful job. Actually taught his daughters at Southwest, and so I've known that family for a long time. Very big fan of them. And so when I came in, a lot of the coaches were there previously, and so just getting that transition of kind of molding what they've already done with what we could do new. And one of the first things we did was we established something we call the Gator Way, and just kind of have something that is a core principle that we can lean on. And it's, Gator Way is grit, accountability, thankfulness, opportunity, and respect. And so we talk about that a lot, about living the Gator Way. And we define that for the kids, and we explain kind of how they can show that. Our practice plan has each of those listed on there. And so, when you get to conditioning, it's grit, like getting through and understanding. Because I think one of the things that I did see when I first came in was kind of a lack of confidence. There was a lack of a belief there. And I think that's one thing that this senior class has really done a great job in, is believing in each other and believing in themselves. And that might be a byproduct of the Gator Way. It's also a byproduct of wonderful family. Got great parent support with this group. But I think the biggest thing is they've grown up playing together, and they've really embraced being leaders.
How many of the 34 start for you, Coach?
So out of the 34, 15. So
that's a good number.
And that's 15 individuals, and that's one thing, when you're not platooning, sometimes you're playing 15 guys you're going both ways. But it's a great thing this year. Next year we're going to have some holes to fill with those kids, but that's where hopefully those kids who are getting development will be able to step in, and we won't miss a beat as much as normal.
Right. I mean, that's you don't hear that very often. 34 seniors. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. And they stayed with you all through these years and haven't gave up and hung in there, which is a credit to them and your coaching staff.
Yeah, they when you're losing and your sophomores playing up on varsity, it's hard. It's tough to get through that and keep the mindset and keep the work ethic, and that's why all the credit goes to them, because they're stubborn, tough-minded kids. And
well,
that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. So now you're 2-1. You lost a tough one to Hastings there at the beginning of the year, and then you won back-to-back. You beat a very good Lincoln High team. In my mind, I think they've been good, very good the last couple of years.
Nice program.
And you beat them both. So how the guys feeling right now?
I think the nice thing is that sometimes you come off a win and you start pumping your chest a little bit. You start feeling pretty good about yourself. And the best thing for us is coming off the Hastings loss, and then you play Lincoln High. So there wasn't time for a hangover. There wasn't time to feel
Lincoln
sorry
High
for
is very good. Yeah,
they are, and with the kids who transferred, as well as the fact that we're so close in proximity, kids were very motivated to come back to practice
That's
that
good.
next Monday, and there was no time to kind of waste. So that was very good. We started off, we were up 21-0 or 27-0 in the first quarter against Northeast. Got off to a really great start.
How are they doing over there? Because they've had their ups and downs the
You know,
last couple of years.
those kids play hard. I respect what they do there a lot. They're in a challenging spot right now with numbers. I think they're having some
classes.
They're having you know, and the seniors, this is their
because they fight with Lincoln High, don't they? As
yeah,
far as
they do, they do, and you know, they've had 3 head coaches. The seniors have, so they've kind of gone through
not
a big
lot of continuity
transition
there.
Yeah, and I think Dan Martin coming from Kearney, I think that's going to help them with that continuity as well.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
Yep. Yes.
So what? Tell me about the Hastings game.
So Hastings, man,
because they're not bad. They're pretty strong.
They're a really good team. One of the things that you can't really replicate, you see it on film, is their speed. I mean, they're 4x1 track teams out there running routes.
That's right. I forget
and they've got a quarterback who it's hard to explain it until you see it. But the kid threw some passes where he put it in a spot that he just trusted the guys were going to be there, and they went and made plays. And offensively, you know, we had 350 yards of offense. We scored on our second drive, and then we'd get inside the 30, and we'd have some penalties, and we'd have some things that really just shot ourselves.
Mental mistakes there.
And yeah, so we were inside there 36 times in the first half and didn't score, and that's kind of hard to overcome. And it was, you know, it's 14-8. We have the ball inside their 10-yard line, and we turn it over on downs. 2 plays later, they go 87 yards on a pass for a touchdown. All of a sudden, it goes from a 6-point game to a 21-8 game, and then they kick off, and ball bounces weird. They recover it and they score again. So in a matter of 4 or 5 plays, you go from possibly going in to take the lead to being down 28-8, and that's where I really appreciated the way the kids came back. Because sometimes you come on,
well, especially that's where you look to your older kids really.
You start feeling sorry for yourself, and you know, or kind of getting that mindset of, oh, here we go again. And that's where they came back on Monday and worked their butts off and did a great job.
Yeah, you had 2 back-to-back wins. Now you got Columbus next week, right?
Yep.
How they? I mean, this Thursday, right?
Yeah, no, it's Friday.
Friday.
But man, they're tough. They're
they've been playing pretty well too.
They're 2-0. They haven't given up a point yet defensively. Offensively, they have their backup quarterback in, and he's just a very different style of quarterback. He's a smaller kid, but he runs. He's quick, and kind of adds a different dimension to what they do. And you know, their wrestling program, growing up across the river from them, the wrestling program's well known. Like they're
that's
tough,
who
tough kids.
We were state champions my senior year, and then my brother, you know, Bob's senior year at Westside, and that's who we had to beat both times.
Yep.
Columbus.
Columbus is they're hard nosed kids, and they're kids who are going to, you know, they're going to come at you. They're going to be physical. They're not incredibly flashy when it comes to offensively or anything like that. They're just going to do what they do, and they're going to do it well. And they're well coached. They're well disciplined, and you know, you can't take plays off. They're going to take advantage of it.
So now, do you got them there or home?
Home. The only time we leave Lincoln is week 8 against Millard South. Otherwise,
that'll be a good.
They're a hell of a team. So we've got a lot of ground to cover between
that
then and now.
Yeah.
But
because that's one of your last games, isn't it?
Yeah, it's week 8. So yeah. So we're excited about kind of coming back each week and seeing games that I think we can be competitive in. If things go right, you know, we can end up with a pretty good record at the end of the year.
Have a chance to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
because it's been a while since North Star's been in there.
I think I want to say either 2012 or 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been a while. That's kind of when the school started. About that time.
No, they were 2004. 2004 is first graduating year because Southwest opened one year and then North Star opened the next year.
That's right, back to back. I'm getting old. I'm telling my age there. Yeah,
listen,
I remember when they started those 2 programs.
They build on each other. The years just kind of fall apart.
Yeah,
they're
the same structure of school, both of them too. I remember that.
Yeah, the blueprint's the exact same.
Yeah,
so just change colors a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so Coach, I've known you for a while. So tell us about your offense. What do you do? What's your plan? What do you do to melt your players into your offense? And how do you scheme it so your kids match it?
What we do is right now with the quarterback situation we have a kid who can kind of press all the right buttons. We've got a little bit more speed than we had last year. We've got a sophomore who's a fast slot receiver for us. Takes the top off a little bit, We've got a couple running backs that we didn't have last year. The one from Atlanta, Georgia, has come in, done a really nice job. And we've got some nice possession receivers. So we spread it out, and we do a lot of RPOs. We're up tempo. We're able to run a play every about 15 seconds, and so we're averaging about 375 yards of offense a game.
Wow.
And when you look at the last few years, there's sometimes that we're not getting there until week 3 or 4 total. So we feel good about where we've been offensively. We had to finish better, and that's what we saw this last week was, when we had opportunities, when our defense was causing turnovers, we were able to finish and get in the end zone. And some of that's just that confidence and belief that once you finally get in, it gets, everybody wants a little piece of it.
Right.
So, but the biggest thing that we try to do is we're simple. We try to formation a little bit, motion you a little bit to try to take advantage of angles and outnumber you in some spots. And then the biggest thing is we've got a quarterback in DJ McGarvey who, if there's a window, he's going to find it. He's made some big time throws this year. Look good for him.
Is he getting looked at by anybody or not?
With the whole
because I heard his name as a junior.
Yeah, the pandemic has kind of halted a little bit of that recruiting.
Yeah, because they can't go into school right now.
No, so I'll be interested to see once that kind of opens up how things go. I do think that as he has some more success and some of the other kids start having some more success, you start seeing some stats and you get some highlight clips out there. There's going to be some people who are on him, I think, early that have an opportunity to build a relationship with him because I think once people really take a look at him, they're going to see he's a dual threat quarterback, and he threw for 200, rushed for 90 last week. So,
do you think he's at 1AA, or what level do you think he's?
I think he's probably D2 or an FCS.
1AA, yeah, like North Dakota State, South Dakota State.
I think he can, if he gets in the right system with the right support around him. I mean, he's kind of just scratching the surface right now with what he can do.
Got a nice arm on him.
Yes.
Nice trigger.
Yes, and he's a 6'3" kid.
So he's 6'3". That's a big. You can't coach height.
That, no. And he, you can kind of tell. We laugh as coaches when he gets into a groove. You can kind of tell his shoulder. He's a very humble, very quiet kid, but he kind of gets that shoulder going a little bit, and you can see when he's feeling himself a little bit. So, and once he does, he put a ball this last week in the back of the end zone between two defenders from about 20 yards out, and it was on a dot. And you see that, and you just kind of look at each other and you're like, that's different. That's pretty special.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of times those tall kids like that are just now starting to develop talent-wise.
Yep.
I mean they are. So I mean big tall kids always develop as time goes along and get their mojo going and all that stuff.
Right. And he honestly, he's a kid that even last year you'd stand back behind when you're going against scout, and I'd call a play and I'd say, okay, what do you see? And he'd be able to explain everything I'm looking at. And so from a coaching standpoint, it's tough to beat to know when you call a play, he's seeing the same thing you're seeing.
I've had some of my day that you'd ask them what they see, and they come back, and I'm like going, I have to go back and look at the film. How in the heck they seeing that?
Yeah, I know.
Then you have those kids that can see, and you're like going,
it makes play calling easier because you trust that what you're looking for is going to get done.
And they can get you the right place too if you don't call the right place. That's always nice to have that.
A lot of times the only questions he has is they're polite questions of saying, "Coach, you don't have us lined up right. I think we need to flip here."
And that's good because that means they're seeing stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, heck, you get to the level like the pros. Heck, you may send a play into Peyton or Brett Favre, but they're going to change it the line scrimmage.
They're going to do what they need.
Because they can see the things out there as they're going. They're that far advanced, you know. And you get a kid that, at least in college and high school, that can flip stuff and do stuff for you, and makes your job that much easier as a play caller.
Yeah.
Now, do you still call the plays?
I do.
So you still run the offense?
I'm too stubborn to give it up. But
and you work with the quarterbacks too, right, Coach?
Yes. Yeah, we're with the quarterbacks, and then call the plays, and we've gone to a signal system, which to be able to go up tempo. I've tried the wristbands, we tried boards, we tried signal, whatever, and we're at the point right now where we've got our signals are all going in at different times, and we don't even have to call. We don't have to verbalize anything on the field. We're able to just go, and so just being able to get into a rhythm as a play caller. Because if you're going 3 and out, you don't get into much of a rhythm.
No, you don't. You put a lot more pressure on your defense too.
Yes, and so being able to have some success early has helped me get into a rhythm, call some plays that, or call multiple plays in a row where you really start to see where you can take advantage of the defense and the opportunities they're giving you. So against Lincoln High we had a 17-play drive that we didn't score
That's
on,
nice.
but it got us from
Doesn't
back
matter.
up on
It controls the clock. It keeps them off the field.
Absolutely, it pretty much ended the game because it got us underneath 6 minutes in the fourth quarter, and that was we three-score lead. Too much to overcome at that point.
Yeah, and they probably were. I mean, because weren't they predicted to win your cup in the area this year?
I'd say Southeast probably.
Southeast still was.
Yeah, Lincoln High's got.
I mean, they had a good year last year.
Lincoln High, not last year, the year before.
The year before, that's right.
Last year they've got a tough schedule. They've got a really tough schedule, and so they've got some really nice pieces. And I think from a number standpoint, I think they're a little bit down from what they were a couple of years ago.
So them and Northeast are kind of splitting kids, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they're in the same district and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that same area, so it's probably affecting them both.
And really, we talk about the north side schools between North Star, Lincoln High, and Northeast, and we're kind of, if one school has a good class, the other two might have a little bit smaller class, and so we're all three kind of sharing, and we're all a little nervous when they open up another school in 2 years. How that's
are they going to open another one?
Yeah.
Where are they going to open one?
So Northwest 48th Street in the interstate. So the Air Park community area there. That's right now we get a lot of kids from that area that come to North Star. There's not a lot of football players who are coming from there, but that's going to impact our enrollment for sure.
What's it going to be called? Do you know?
No, we just keep saying North Star. So
North Star.
But
okay.
I don't know. I think at some point, Southeast is in the center of Lincoln now. So
it is. It's amazing how that.
At some point, you got to quit calling them directions and just call them something else because they're going to outgrow it eventually.
Right. Yeah. This whole eastern Nebraska, like Mark and I talk about, is Omaha to Lincoln's just totally changed.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go west and there's like nothing out there. The smaller communities are just, other than Columbus and Hastings in certain areas, are really.
Well, those smaller communities are growing because the small towns around them are getting smaller.
Right.
You're seeing a lot more co-ops and
oh yeah, it's changed a lot. That has, yeah. I mean, it just the smaller, you had all the small farmers. Now it's all one big farm, so there just isn't as many kids out there anymore. Now the population has really moved to this eastern side of the state.
Absolutely has.
But so now you got your offense. It's kind of like something I like, open and getting after it. What do you do with your defense to fit it in so it matches?
So defensively, we are a 3-3 stack, and that really kind of fits, with the platoon system. What you can basically have 8 linebackers on the field, slanting and running. And defense coordinator Brian Lauke loves to bring pressure, loves to blitz, and so that's kind of a perfect defense for him and his personality. So he's going to get after you and bring a lot of pressure, and we want to cause turnovers because
you want the ball back in your.
We want the ball back in our hands, and we want the defense to cause havoc and cause turnovers. And the biggest thing that we kind of preach is just both offensively and defensively is to go fast. And so we're running to the football on defense. We're attacking, whether it's through blitzes or whatever else. But I think we ran 50 offensive plays the first half against Hastings. And so, a lot of times 50 in a game is going to be good. We ran 50 in the first half. And so as much as we can have the ball in our hands, gives us a better chance to score, obviously, than them. And so we really want to cause havoc defensively and just kind of make teams feel pressure and feel kind of our physicality and quickness and try to get them to throw to us once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole key is that offense. We didn't run completely like what you do, but I mean, some similarities. We did some RPOs back, and we didn't call them that back then. We just called them read plays.
Yeah.
And it's evolved that much, what you guys do with it. But it's the same thing. You wanted an offense and wanted a defense and get your offense back. So it was the same type of philosophy. And, it's a fun offense and defense. You can get your kids all to fit into it, and buy in, and all that stuff like that.
And we do a shark drill that it's kind of like you smell blood in the water, and all 11 got to get to the ball and they sprint to it.
How do you do that drill?
So I did this at Benson, and it was when we went to a 3-3 stack there because we had a lot of athletes on the field, didn't have a lot of big bodies, and So what you do is you just go 3 plays in a row. You have coaches stand out in the kind of the hook to curl area and snap the ball, throw it. All 11 have to get to the ball. As soon as all 11 are there, you blow the whistle. They sprint back to their spot. You go again, and so you replicate 3 and out. And so you get to the ball one side, get to the ball the other side, and then you get off the field. And it's all about just going maximum effort. It's more of a pursuit drill than anything, but a lot of times you do those pursuit drills where you run up the sideline and your D lineman's taking an angle at 70 or 80 yards, and that doesn't really help anybody.
No.
So this way,
Because that's the biggest thing on defense, coach, is get the ball and get it with an angle.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean that's the biggest thing. I remember our defensive coordinator when I coached you is always work with angles, but get the ball quickly. But the angle you take is half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Getting those kids all to realize that, and I'm sure you do a lot of pursuit drills too, because I know that's important too.
Yeah, and it's a mindset, because you can watch film and the games that you're competitive in defensively. There's 3, 4, 5 guys at the tackle every time.
Yeah,
and then those games that you're not, one run broken tackle turns into a touchdown because everybody else is standing watching. Yeah. And so that's been a really huge change for us this year, is that we're getting 11 guys to the ball as much as possible.
Well, that's good, coach, because I mean, you look at it too. Everybody's spread out a lot more, and that's trying to get that one-on-one play where a guy defeats the tackler.
Right.
And I mean, that's the whole thing, is trying to get all 11 to the ball in today's game with what as spread out as everybody is.
Yeah, because there's a lot of space out there.
There's
a lot of grass.
Yeah, it isn't like you're lining up I formation just trying to run over everybody. You kind of put them in spots and get to those angles and stop that running back and everything like that, and multi-tackle. Now you got to try to multi-tackle and get a lot of tacklers with everybody all over the place.
There's so many responsibilities with option looks, and it's the old school triple option, but when you're having an inside read, you've got a vertical route, you've got a flat route, and you still have quarterback run. And
it isn't like it's the same philosophy, the triple option, but it's more spread out because it's not all in here.
Yep. It challenges your rules. For sure.
Yes. I think defensive coordinators, because people like to watch the scoring. I mean, it starts in the NFL and works to college and then works to you guys, and I mean the rules, help the offense. I mean, and to be honest with you, I mean, I think it really puts a lot of pressure on your defensive coordinators today and your kids.
Yeah, they've got to be prepared for just about anything.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, how is Columbus not having any score on them yet? That just totally blows my mind.
Well, so they play 3-5, 3-3.
So very similar to
very
3-3.
Similar. They don't bring as much pressure, so they won't blitz as much.
So
as
a little more
do.
given.
Yeah. So their 2 teams they've played were Scottsbluff, and Scottsbluff is single wing, and when you have
they're still running the single wing.
Yep, running the single wing. You have 5 linebackers.
My dad ran
who
the
are
single
attacking
wing
downhill. Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played center high school back in the 50s.
Scottsbluff took them to a state championship, state runner-up last year.
Didn't that? That's totally crazy. They're Class B though, right?
They're Class B.
Yeah.
But when you've got the dude they had at quarterback last year, like he was a stud, and you got to get the ball in his hands. And so they don't quite have the weapons they had last year. Columbus really nullified any kind of run game there for them. And then against Norfolk, I think Norfolk had a backup quarterback in. However, Norfolk's Norfolk.
They're a good football team.
They play well.
They always play well.
And Columbus just, they fly to the football. They trust their keys. They trust their responsibilities, and they're very solid. And if you don't make mistakes, you got to drive the field.
Yeah, they're playing soft, and they're forcing you to drive the field. You got to be consistent and not make mistakes.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're hoping that we can give them a little bit different look than what they've seen, and have some success with it. And, going every week, hoping to go 1-0.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So what does everybody staying healthy for you right now, Coach?
Yeah, and I, knock on wood. Right now we haven't had anybody who's missed any time for injury, and 3 games into the season usually have 1 or 2 guys who are banged up for one reason or another, and I really credit a lot of that to the fact that we're fresh. So you're playing one side of the ball, and in years past you've got those kids who are playing 120 snaps in a game, and they just get worn down, they get beaten up, and that's been a huge benefit that at the end of the game our kids are still fresh, and I think that's helped us avoid those injuries. Some are going to happen, they always do, But as much as we can to keep the kids rested and fresh, I think that helps us avoid those nagging injuries that just kind of pile up on you.
Oh yeah, I think if you can, platoon system is awesome. I mean, I really do. I mean, it's because it keeps you away from injuries. You stay fresh. Guys get a rest. When guys go both ways, I mean, unless the guy's just an absolute animal, it's hard on him.
It is, and you know, we talked about you know, we've got some kids who've had a sacrifice, and I've had some conversations with kids who would like to play both sides, and you know, the mindset is if you have a kid, if you're here and your backup is here, well, if you're playing both sides, number one, he's not getting better, and you're getting tired, and so now your performance goes here.
Yeah.
And so if you can keep yourself here and then bring this kid up because of more reps in practice, more reps in games, now all of a sudden you're both getting better instead of one getting better and or being too tired to really perform.
And the other one not getting no experience at all.
Absolutely. And then the next year you're wondering why kids aren't any better than they were the year before.
Now you're building for the future, which is good. How many juniors you have starting for you now?
So juniors we have starting. So that is we have we have 5 juniors and 2 sophomores that are starting for us.
Well, you even have 2 sophomores.
We have 2 sophomores. We have 1 slot receiver and then one linebacker, and his brother is the center. But Cade Sipe is a sophomore linebacker, and he's going to be pretty good. He's a very gifted athlete, and he can run, loves to hit. He's one of those kids who probably could go both ways and help us out, but as a sophomore, we wanted to help him get focused on that one side of the ball.
Now what year's the running back you got from Georgia? What year?
Senior.
He's a senior.
Yeah.
So you got a senior in from Georgia.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm excited. He's a wrestler. He's got a brother who's a freshman who's playing quarterback, and you know, great kids, and hopefully hopefully they bring some more of their friends to come up here. That'd be all right.
Yeah, pretty good football in Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where Auburn gets the majority of their kids from. You know,
Yeah.
so. Well, doggone it, Coach, I appreciate your time today.
Yeah,
it's great to have you on here at Ballin with Bill. And you got good luck against Columbus and the rest of the season. I hope you have a very successful season, get in the playoffs. I really do.
That. It'd be fun. I'd like to be coaching in November. It'd be
awesome. I think that's awesome. Have a chance. Now, are they going to still play the state championship in Nebraska still?
The plan is right now that they're moving forward. I do know that with OPS not being on the schedule, I think there's some ideas being thrown around, but nothing's at this point. Everything is just moving forward with the way the schedule is established.
Right. I know there would be a playoff still.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As long as everything stays where it's at.
Yeah, and then will they still play the state championship in Nebraska like they normally do?
Yep.
That's good. At least it'll get used this year.
Well, yeah, I did see somebody tweeted, and I kind of copied it from them. Man, there's a vacant building where you can do some lot of social distancing.
Oh yeah, I saw that Twitter too. Yeah, the tweet too.
Yeah, so somebody needs
to use it. Somebody needs to use it. No kidding. Feel bad for the boys in Nebraska this year, Big Red.
Yeah, there's so much work put in.
Well, and he's trying to build a program there, like we talked about here, and you just hate to see this, and you feel bad for the kids at Ohio State too, because there's a lot of first rounders that aren't playing right now too. For
Absolutely.
them. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. You know what we do here at the end, I was a rec wrestler. You got to give them the hush, man. Got to give them the hush. Means you want food or money, not necessarily in that order. Get you ready for that game this week against Columbus.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Hush, 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 Ball. Phil, we'll see you next week. Hush. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, thank you.